2026 is just a month away, and with version 6.2 bringing Durin as a new support and Columbina rumored to be another support, it's time we actually make a tier list ranking the best supports in the game. Keep in mind, this list was way harder to make compared to a DPS tier list, because unlike DPS, whose main goal is simply to provide damage and can be ranked by DPS, ease to play, and team options, supports are much more complex. A support usually has way more team options than a DPS, and every support has a different goal. Some focus on healing, some on shielding, some on off-field application and damage, some on team buffs. So to make it easier to analyze, we'll judge characters on 3 points. First, defensive role, shields and healing. Second, buffs they provide to the on-field DPS, including resistant shred, damage bonus, ATK buffs, EM buffs, and elemental application to trigger reactions. And third, whether they actually provide meaningful personal damage. We will also rank everyone together in one final list in the end, starting with Geo because this is the easiest. No doubt, Xilonen is currently the best Geo support by far, and even one of the best supports in the entire game. What makes her so broken is that she is incredibly flexible, and works with almost every DPS thanks to universal buffs like 36% resistance shred, and she can swap artifact sets depending on your DPS. She has multiple use cases, and on top of that, she provides defensive utility in the form of healing. What makes her even more broken compared to traditional resistance shredders is that her rotation time is extremely low, which makes the total team rotation much shorter and leads to more DPS, because unlike Kazuha or other viridescent users, you don't have to double swirl, which makes rotations longer and harder to execute. We do have some other Geo supports such as Albedo. With his kit changes, he is now one of the best Geo supports in the game, especially when paired with one Hexerei member. He currently has multiple teams with Durin, Navia, and even mono Pyro setups, making him extremely good. He also provides some EM buffs, which are very useful when you play him in Mualani Vape teams or other reaction-heavy teams. Coming to other Geo units, there are not many good options in the element considering the current meta, but units like Chiori can be played as a sub-DPS or crystallized support for Navia. Yunjin can be played in multiple teams such as Arlecchino, double Geo setups. More units like Zhongli are not really that good anymore. Yes, he does have the second strongest shield in the game, but why would you use him when you have a free-to-play option like Langyan, whose constellations are free to get from Lantern Rite events, and who provides insanely higher buffs? I even rank Kachina over Zhongli, as Kachina can actually provide Cinder City buffs, and even at C4 can give extra DF for your on-field DPS, especially useful if they scale from defense. Zhongli's only really viable teams now are Dendro setups, as he can provide 20% Dendro resistance shred, which not many shields can do, and paired with Deepwood, this can go up to 50% Dendro shred. It's hard to cover all characters in detail, so I'll just pop the Geo support tier list on screen.
Before we go any further, quick reminder about how to get maximum discounts on your top-ups. Loot Bar is offering massive deals every time a new banner drops, with multiple limited time offers and banner-specific top-ups. Just use my Loot Bar link in the description or pinned comment to get extra discounts and save more Primo Gems for all these upcoming banners.
Now coming to Dendro. We have a lot of options thanks to Dendro always being designed around a supportive role. Lauma is currently the best Dendro support without any doubt. She provides 25% Hydro and Dendro resistance shred, and with Lunar reactions, she gives the ability for Bloom reactions to crit, which makes her insanely broken. She's a massive boost to the old Dendro archetypes and also best in slot 4 DPS like Nefer, and has insane Hyper Bloom and Version teams with many other units thanks to her resistance shred. She can be paired in Kinnich teams with Thrilling Tales and Deepwood, and she can also be played alongside Hydro DPS like Mualani in Burning style teams or even in Nevelet Burgeon teams. Both are extremely powerful and provide insane DPS numbers. Other units like Nahida are still good, but got a massive nerf indirectly from Lauma, since Lauma replaces her in most teams. Nahida is still strong though, and can work with Lauma or act as a backup if you don't have Lauma in Nefer or traditional Dendro teams, thanks to her massive EM buffs. She is still very strong, especially with all the EM-focused units in Nod Cry. Other Dendro units like Baizhu are also extremely good, especially as he's the second Dendro healer in the game with a good amount of team buffs. He can be useful in many teams. Yaoyao is the only F2P Dendro healer, making her value insanely high for new players. Kirara is another defensive option who provides shields for your entire team and can be useful in many setups. Kaveh, with his constellations, is also pretty good in Bloom teams. That's my Dendro support tier list. Let me know if I missed anyone. Coming to Electro. Ineffa is the best Electro support in the game. With a defensive option like a strong shield, access to Lunar charge, and insanely high personal damage, she is one of the most valuable characters in the game. She can work with Flynn's as best-in-slot support, replaces Kuki as best-in-slot Hyperbloom support, and can also work with Arlecchino in Overload and Overvape teams, alongside Veressa in Electro charge teams, while giving access to Lunar charge at the same time. Kuki is still one of the best Electro supports in my opinion, thanks to her healing that scales from EM, making her perfect for Hyperbloom teams. She can be paired with Gilded Dreams for team-wide buffs or used as a Hyperbloom carry with Flower of Paradise Lost. She did get a massive competition lately from Fischl. With the Hexerei buff and 22% extra attack in Overload teams and extra EM for Electro charge teams, Fischl became even more broken in the current meta, working with some of the strongest units like Durin, Flynn's, Arlecchina, Veressa, Razor, and fitting into almost any Overload and Electro charge team as a pure off-field damage dealer and buffer in Hexerei setups. Other units like Ororon are also insanely good, especially in Electro charge teams, and can be played in other setups as a Cinder City holder. Same goes for Iansan, who doesn't provide as much personal damage as Ororon, but does provide an insane amount of attack buffs and options like Cinder City and Noblesse, depending on the team. At higher constellations like C2 and C6, she even becomes better than Bennett in many situations, making her one of the strongest Electro buffers in the game. That's my Electro support tier list.
Now coming to Hydro, there are multiple options like Xingqiu, Yelan, Furina, Candace, Mona, and Aino. Some provide massive off-field damage, while others act as pure buffers. Xingqiu and Yelan are mainly sub-DPS units, who can be paired with any normal attack DPS to do a huge amount of damage alongside insane Hydro application, especially in Arlecchino and Skirk teams. You can also pair them with Mavika with multiple combos to maximize their output. They also provide some team buffs, such as Yelan's damage bonus buff and Xingqiu's damage reduction and resistance to interruption, making them very solid units. Furina kind of does both. She falls short in personal damage compared to Yelan and Xingqiu, but provides insane buffs, making her very strong overall. She did fall off a lot recently with Nod Cry, since her damage bonus style buffs are useless for many lunar scaling characters, but she is still one of the best options for Veressa, Muvika, Navia, and Nuvolette, making them insanely strong. Other units like Candace can be very useful in teams that need Hydra application with some buffs, such as Arlecchino and Skirk teams. Aino is another pretty useful character, especially for activating Ascendant Gleam for F2P players who don't own many non-Cry characters. Her Hydra application and EM buff are also decent, making her a good unit overall, at least until Columbina arrives. After the Hexerei effect, Mona is now one of the best Hydro supports with Omen buff extension. She works insanely well not only with Hexerei characters, but also in other team setups like Muvika Vape, Mualani Vape, and Venti and Durin course. Thanks to free constellations, she is only going to get better with time. That's my Hydra support tier list for now. Now coming to Cryo, even after having the most number of characters in the game, there are not really many Cryo supports that are actually broken. Escoffier is the very best Cryo unit, arguably the best Cryo character overall, with insane team-wide buffs, healing, and personal damage. These things make her completely broken, but mainly in freeze teams, because her personal damage and resistance shreds fall massively outside of freeze. As said, she can still be used as an off-field Cryo applicator and healer in Muika Melt or Arlecchino teams, but yes, her value there is much lower. Talking about Arle and Muika, Citlali is currently the best Cryo support for them, with Pyro resistance shred, Cryo application, and a good enough shield. As said, she is also a scroll holder, which makes her very viable in Skirk teams, and she provides Hydro resistance shred too, making her useful with Hydro DPS. Other 4-star characters like Layla can be a solid backup if you don't have Citlali. Rosaria can be used as an off-field Cry applicator and provide some useful crit rate buffs. Same goes for Charlotte, as she can hold Thrilling Tales, provide off-field application using her burst, and very good healing. Apart from this, units like Kaya, Chongyun, Shenhei, and Ganyu do have some use cases, but they are not as good as these top options. Here is the Cryo tier list.
Now coming to Pyro, the most loved element thanks to DPS like Mavuika and Arlecchino, but also supports like Bennett, Xiangling, and even the newly added Durin, who looks insanely broken. Bennett is best in slot for any attack scaling DPS. whereas Xiangling is the best off-field Pyro applier. With Durin, this element got even more broken as Durin provides up to 35% resistance shred for Electro, Geo, Animo, and Dendro, making him best in slot for DPS like Navia, Kinich, and Venti. He can also work as an off-field damage dealer with his black form, while providing insane Pyro application for the on-field DPS to trigger reactions. I will not go deep here, as we already made a lot of videos on Durin, so do check them out. Units like Mavlika can also be played as an off-field damage dealer and buffer, unlocking some of the strongest teams in the game. Other units like Thoma can be incredibly good in overload teams where you need a shield, and in Burgeon teams thanks to his kit that provides off-field application and shielding at the same time. Chevreuse is the best overload support in the entire game, completely reshaping that reaction and making it one of the most broken archetypes in the game. If you want to see more 4-star breakdowns, do check out the video on screen. Here is my Pyro tier list. Now coming to Animo. I kept it till the end as this is the element where most of the characters are supports, making it really hard to rank them, but I will still rank Sucrose as the best Animo support right now. Not only because she is best in slot for many non-Cry DPS thanks to her massive elemental mastery buffs, but she can also be played as a Thrilling Tales holder in Old Mavwika and Arlecchino Melt and Vape teams. She can also be played in teaser teams, and being a Hexerei member, she unlocks effects with Fischl, Durin, and Mona, making her value even higher as they all work in many of the strongest teams in the game. Lanyan is a solid fallback for Sucrose, as she also provides Thrilling Tales and some EM buffs with a defensive option like a shield, making her a better choice where you need protection, rather than pure damage buffs. Other units like Kazuha are still solid options and can work with many older units, but he's not really the best choice for current meta DPS like Mavwika, Flins, or Varesa, making his value way lower now since his damage bonus type buffs are pretty useless for most Lunar units, and he doesn't really provide any defensive options like other meta supports. Venti can also be used as an Animo support for Animo DPS thanks to his 50% swirl damage bonus after burst in Hexerei teams, making him a solid option for future Animo DPS, most likely Varka, and potentially replacing C6 Faruzan. Talking about Faruzan, she's the best support for any Animo DPS currently, but her main value comes from C6. Without C6, she's not that good. Units like Jin, Mizuki, and Shanyun can be useful where you need both healing and viridescent shred, but they are mostly super niche.
With the addition of Drahoda, she is looking to provide an alternative to Ainu in multiple team setups. Thanks to her healing and elemental mastery buffs, she becomes a very useful character, especially for enabling Ascendant Gleam buffs and maintaining consistent elemental application across teams. Here is my Animo tier list. I hope this video helped you understand the current situation of supports in Genshin Impact. We make content like this regularly, so make sure you subscribe. Until then.